Hey everyone, ready to dive into some tech news?
Always. What are we looking at today?
CNBC, October 9th, and wow, there's a lot to unpack.
Let's hear it.
AI everywhere, HSBC, Success Theater, Humane, new AI venture, Amazon ditching cashierless tech but selling it to others,
Yeah.
and NVIDIA raking it in with AI chips. So are we in a bubble or what?
Well, success theater is a really interesting term. Basically, it suggests that some companies might be exaggerating their AI progress.
To impress investors.
Exactly. And you have to wonder, like with Amazon,
Yeah.
they're selling that cashierless tech after it flopped in their own stores.
You're kidding.
Nope. Makes you think, right? If Amazon couldn't make it work.
Why try to sell it to someone else?
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if it's more about looking good than actually having a good product.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Are we seeing real progress or just a lot of hype? And if it's hype, how long can it last?
How do we separate the substance from the hype?
Honestly, I think it comes down to looking beyond the flashy headlines. What problems are these AI tools actually solving? And how well are they really doing it out in the real world?
It's easy to get swept up in the excitement.
It is, and we should be excited about the potential. But let's not forget to ask the hard questions, too.
Speaking of hard questions, big tech is back in the hot seat. DOJ eyeballing a Google breakup, and then there's that Epic Games ruling.
Yeah, the pressure is on. Antitrust concerns aren't going away anytime soon.
What are the biggest worries there? I mean, what's making regulators so concerned about Google in particular?
It boils down to dominance. When a company gets as big as Google, there's concern that they can stifle competition. And that hurts everyone in the long run.
Less innovation, fewer choices for consumers.
Exactly, and higher prices, potentially. Now, the Epic Games case, that focused specifically on Google's App Store practices.
Right. Epic makes Fortnite huge game.
Huge. They argued that Google uses its control over the Android App Store to give itself an unfair advantage, charging too much, that kind of thing.
And the court agreed, at least in part.
They did, which could have a ripple effect. It'll be interesting to see how Google adjusts its strategy.
So we've got this incredible pace of innovation, but also these big questions about whether the system is fair. It's a lot.
It is, and it highlights this difficult balance. We want innovation, but not at the cost of a level playing field. It'll be fascinating to see how this all unfolds.
Absolutely. You know, it's not just about the tech itself, though, is it? I mean, all of this impacts people in a big way.
Absolutely. And that human side of technology, that's something we need to talk about more.
Definitely. Like this thing with Uber. They're rolling out an AI chatbot, supposedly to help their drivers switch to electric vehicles.
Right.
Feels like they're trying to put a very, how do I put this? A very polished spin on what could be a really tough transition for a lot of drivers.
You're right. Think about it. Transitioning to an electric vehicle, it's a big change. It's not just about the car itself.
New costs, learning curve.
Exactly. Range anxiety, charging infrastructure, it can feel overwhelming.
And Uber's solution is, here, talk to this bot. Doesn't exactly scream empathy, does it?
It does make you wonder, where does AI fit into these situations? Can it truly provide the support that drivers need?
I mean, I get it. The chatbot could probably answer basic questions.
Sure, like where to find charging stations, how to estimate your range, maybe even some cost comparisons.
But what about the bigger anxieties? You know, like, am I even going to be able to make a living with this new setup?
That's the thing about AI, right? It's great with the logical stuff, the information.
But not so much with the emotional stuff.
Exactly. Human empathy, understanding those deeper anxieties, that's not really AI's strong suit.
It feels like, and maybe this is too simplistic, but it feels like with technology, there's always this trade-off.
Oh, absolutely.
Where it's like, yeah, we can automate this task, but what's the human cost? Or we can get information quickly, but do we lose something in the process?
You've hit on something really important. It's not enough to just ask, can we do this? We have to ask, should we do this? And if so, how do we do it well?
And how do we make sure it benefits everyone, not just a select few?
Exactly. And this whole Uber situation, it's like a microcosm of this bigger issue, right? AI in the workforce.
Jobs being automated, people being displaced. That's a whole other conversation.
It is, and it's one we need to be having. Because AI isn't going away. The question is, how do we shape its development and integration so it works for us, not against us?
Okay, so shifting gears a bit here. Let's talk money. Big investments making headlines. OpenAI raking in the cash, NVIDIA riding high, and Maven Clinic. Digital health platform, right?
Right, they hit a pretty impressive valuation.
What's the takeaway there? Where's the smart money going, and what does that tell us about the future?
Well, investors tend to put their money where they see the most potential for growth, right? So OpenAI, that's a clear signal.
AI is the future, at least a big part of it.
A big part, definitely. And NVIDIA's involvement, that just strengthens the signal. They're the ones building the hardware that powers all this AI.
And Maven Clinic, that's interesting. Digital health, telemedicine, all of that really took off during the pandemic.
And it seems like that shift is here to stay. Investors are betting on it. Convenience, accessibility, it's a big deal, especially for certain demographics.
Okay, so say you're not an investor, right? You're just trying to figure out what all this means for your own life, your career. What do you do?
That's a great question, and it's something everyone should be thinking about. Here's the thing. These investments, they're like clues.
Clues.
They're clues about the skills, the industries, the knowledge that's going to be in high demand down the line. So, AI is hot right now. What does that tell you?
That learning how to code is probably a good idea.
That's one way to look at it. More broadly, it's about understanding the skills that AI requires and complements. Data analysis, problem solving, ethical decision making in an AI-driven world, those are going to be valuable no matter what.
It's like everyone's trying to figure out where to place their bets.
Yeah.
What's going to be the next big thing.
Absolutely. And it's easy to get caught up in the frenzy.
Definitely. So as we wrap up here, any final thoughts for our listeners? What should they take away from all of this?
Stay curious, but stay critical.
Meaning?
Don't just buy into the hype. AI is exciting, it has huge potential, but it's not a magic bullet.
We've seen that time and time again, haven't we?
Exactly. Ask questions, do your research, understand the limitations as well as the possibilities.
Think for yourself, basically.
Exactly. And don't forget the human side of all of this. Technology is only as good as the people using it.
And the choices we make about how we use it, right?
100%. That's something we should all be thinking about no matter what new tech comes along.
Great point to end on, I think. Be informed, be thoughtful, and maybe, just maybe, be a little bit skeptical.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time.
See you then.